The professionals who are out there, they should have a clear strategy as to going into this place, and if they think he's there, somehow to trap the person would require different entry points and come together. So minimizes the risk of him getting away.
Yeah, and they are splitting the team and less of a chance for him to hide if he's actually there. Again, there's likely more evidence that the FBI and police have that leads them to focus here on this area. Why aren't they, covering this area of the reserve and that area of the reserve? They're really honed in. If you look at the entire map of the reserve, you can see their search efforts is really focused on one area. It's like shaped like a potato. It's like this. It's like a big oval. And I know that a potato and an oval. It's more of a potato-shaped search area right now. And they're focusing on this area because they have to have something that leads them to believe that this is the most likely area where Brian could be based on what they have at the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they know if there's any degree of certainty behind that, but we have to go with based on what we're seeing here, and they're committing a sizable amount of resources to that area. Oh man, this is a really good comment here from Katie, Josh. We're talking about the swamp buggies.
I think they're cool.
They are cool, but they're big, and they're powerful, and they cover a whole lot of terrain as they wheel through the reserve. And Katie here is asking, and we have been talking about all the scenarios we were talking yesterday about. Scenario A is that he's found alive, and scenario B is that he's found not alive. And Katie here asking, #KJB, if they're just crashing over everything, how do they know that they're not crushing over his body? And again, as a reminder, we got to stay rooted in reality. We don't have any information that leads us to believe that Brian Laundrie is deceased or not alive at this time. I think that there's, of course, been a lot of people talking online as to whether or not we were talking about his mental state and whether or not he would do something to harm himself. And there have been mental health experts that have chimed in on this portion of the conversation. Whether the weight of knowing that the entire world is aware of Gabby's name and aware of his name, and now, of course, the world knowing what happened to Gabby, and we don't know what he's aware of as far as the current news cycle, but his mental state has been a subject of conversation on this stream and on other news outlets, and if he is in fact somebody who is no longer alive, and if he did come here for a purpose to do something like this, to what Katie's talking about here. I don't know how to answer this question, Josh, but I would imagine keeping their head on a swivel, but also looking directly in front of them to make sure that they're not running over something that they shouldn't.
Right, and I think that's more of an issue on the trail and near the actual paths like that you're seeing right now, out in the open and out. The probability of that happening is very small, but I mean, it's a legit question. It is. What are your options? I mean, you have to get in there to at least try to visually see something.
The swamp buggies are huge.
Or the dogs have to smell something.
Right.
So without even being close, I mean, that's a risk they're willing to take.
Heather Bailey saying that the vehicle is amphibious, but all swamp buggies may not be amphibious. Thank you so much. Amber Jean Roberts. We brought up this comment here earlier about the scent. How about this one from Donna Marie Brandt here, catching up on some. Now we're getting to new comments, brand new comments. So, folks, this is kind of a last call, if you will. Not a last call, but a mass last call here for your #HeyJB, #HeyJosh comments here. File them in there in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Use those hashtags and we can animate your comment on screen. If you don't want us to animate your comment on screen, just don't use the hashtag and
Can you get into
let your comment go by.
X-Files from there?
I can.
Because we just got the video from Northport, if you want to play that.
Let's do that.
Well, we can answer this question. Hey, JB, have they come across any other hikers, campers while searching? That's a good question. Not that I have heard. Have you?
I'm sorry.
Any campers, have they mentioned they've come across anybody? They did mention that there was a death a mile away that wasn't related. That's the only thing I've heard of.
I've only heard of the one death, a self-inflicted death that they confirmed very quickly that was not Brian Laundrie, and that was something that they discovered here as they were combing through the Carlton Reserve here.
Right.
Yeah, I think that the video is being loaded right now. New video of the search efforts here. So as we're calling for our last commenters here to join us with comments and questions, we'll play back this video here in just a moment, and then what we'll do. Okay, let's bring in the video now.
Yeah,
and then
3 minutes. 3-minute video.
Yeah, we're gonna play back the video, and while we play it back, we're gonna listen in and watch for more of your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag Hey Josh comments here. I'm just waiting for it to load. Progress bar going across the screen here. Waiting. Well, in the meantime, I think what I can do is I can bring in this video. We're going to see a lot of this video here in just a second, but we're going to bring in the Thursday search video here now. Loading. We do it all here, folks. It's a lot of multitasking, but we do it all. Okay, here we go. Loading this now in the center of your screen, and here it is. This is now today's search. See if we can bring up some of the audio here. Oh, there's no audio underneath this, but we're going to have audio here in a moment. So you're looking here at more drones that are in the sky, and looking here at the search area here, and looking here at several of the vehicles and several of the search teams that have been working tirelessly. There's the swamp buggy, and you see how large they are here. Here you see them moving along a power line. This allows them to get deeper and deeper into the Carlton Reserve here. Okay, so this is what it's like being on it. Bumpy ride. There's a ride at Disney World that feels just like this as far as this movement.
Yeah.
This movement right here. And that's what it feels like, clearly, based on this video here. And wow, look at them just bumping over.
Is there a dog on there? I was trying to see earlier if they had the dog. Maybe we'll see it.
Yep, see how they're...
But it does give you a really heads up view of your surroundings. It's so tall.
Yep.
That is pretty cool. But boy, is that bumpy. You're going to have whiplash all day after riding for a couple hours.
You need the chiropractor. You need a massage therapist. Man, and look again, it's just how dense it is. This is from Northport Police short time ago when we have the interview here loaded up.
And think of the wildlife out there, too. You scare each other when you're out there. The snake is out there. You don't know where you're walking. You got to be really careful.
A lot of commenters joining us here. Everybody on WFLA now. YouTube's the hardest because the comments scroll through so quickly. Let's see here.
There's a drone.
Yeah, there you go. A drone in the sky. Look at that. This is new. Brand new video.
That's great.
And back to the beginning of the video now, and we'll let it play out here again for those of you just joining us here. This has been a big question from Katie. Katie, I won't butcher your last name, Katie. I'm just going to say Katie, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh.
Gallegos.
What's that now?
Gallegos.
I think that's right. I think you're spot on. Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh. Did the cops actually have eyes on him at home? We know the vehicle came into Florida, but did they actually physically see him? This has been a big question.
Yeah.
And we just know from the Thursday press conference from Chief Todd Garrison, Chief of Police of Northport Police,
that he knew where he was.
We know where he is.
And the interview with the neighbors that everybody's talking about that we saw earlier claimed that they saw him with his mom riding bikes, mowing the grass, and they went on a camping trip. I'm assuming you've talked about that a lot today.
Yeah, we have, and there's just been, a lot of talk about that camper and about the 3-day trip with the camper, and it is based on the information that we have here and what we have been following here in the story. It is believed that Brian returned home with the van, but then we don't know what happened to Brian once the van was returned here to Northport, Florida. We'll bring... this is a great question here too from Jonathan Ritter here in the Facebook Live comment section. We've been talking about all the different treacherous obstacles that you could encounter while out here, and Jonathan Ritter, hashtag HeyJB, If he was ever there, what's to say an animal or a reptile didn't find him first? And we've been talking about now gators, snakes, panthers.
That's why dogs are good. Because if there's any, scent, they're going to pick up on it.
And panther attacks are rare. Coyote attacks are rare here in Florida. Gator attacks, of course, we talk about on the news more than you wish we did.
There's a lot of stuff that could kill you in Florida, though.
There is.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
A lot of wildlife that I don't ever want to come into contact with.
No, I don't mind not being out in areas like this in the vast wilderness, because you just don't know what is in that dense, vast wilderness here.
It would be interesting to find out, though, how much ground they have covered. I hope they put that in one of their updates, just because I keep thinking of the comment about tomorrow that it's to be determined if they're going to continue the search. So it would be nice to try to get you guys an update on how much has been covered, how much ground.
Tony Zito, #AJB. Are there a lot of gators in that area? I would assume so, and the answer is yes, a lot of gators. And here's the thing, especially earlier in the week, probably less so now. We had all that rainfall earlier in the week. It was way more swampy, and the waterways had swelled in Carlton Reserve, and there's more accessibility for a gator. Not to say that the gator can't get out of the water. Of course, gator can get out of the water, but it's just more likely that they are going to. More likely that gators, they have a larger area to swim when there's a tremendous amount of rainfall in some of the areas that are very, very swampy here. The water, the vast areas of just sparse water that's out here in Carlton Reserve. So look at it. That's what I'm talking about right there. So it's there's a lot of gators in the area, and it's definitely part of the obstacle obstacle list that we've been talking about here. Take some more here. We're wrapping up here, everybody. Just the last few questions and comments we're going to get to here. And there have been hundreds, thousands of your hashtag comments here. We cannot get to them all. We always ask that you join us on future WFLA Now live streams, and we try to get to as many as we can. I look for new names. I don't ever want to repeat somebody, because we know that we have so many comments that we've missed from original commenters. But it can be extremely difficult to get to a lot of these comments and questions that are coming in.
A lot of people are talking about the parents today too. I know on my Twitter feed, a lot of people are asking questions about, where did they go this morning? They were gone for quite a while. Curious to know if they went to the police station. So Brian Enton from Next Star Nation was out there, said he went live, and they had someone go by the police station and did not see the truck there, but 2 unmarked cars did follow them when they left. So just wondering, why. Obviously, in your hold up in your house, you probably want to get out, but I don't know how badly they want to get out with the media standing right outside their doorway, essentially, or their yard. But it's interesting to know they were gone for a little bit today, and where did they go?
Let's take this one here from Terry Andrew, #AJB. Is there going to be any live updates to let us know what's going on? We're live here to tell you that there isn't much to update you on, quite frankly, Terry. And if there is an update to share, we just, 30 minutes ago, not even, that we were live with the Joshua Taylor update, and that is an update, talking about how Friday's plan is still uncertain at this time, and there's 75 personnel, 16 different agencies, 4 swamp buggies out there right now. So that is the update, and there's not many other updates to report here at this time.
I do want to mention, since we were talking about News Nation, Next Star is our parent company. They will be doing a special tonight at 9 o'clock. I know Brian Enton had mentioned that they're putting together a special at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to watch that and don't know where to find it on cable or don't have it, you can go to newsnationnow.com/Gabby, and you can watch it there at 9 o'clock tonight. So they're putting a special together, and I'm sure a lot of the content that we have and that we've put together will be a part of that special. So something to check out tonight that will give you kind of an all-encompassing look as to where we are in the case and where we go from here.
Felicia Maddox, #AJB, #HeyJosh. Do they know if he returned from the camping trip with his parents? Is a still image here of the camper that we're talking about here. Let's talk about the camper here for a moment. We haven't talked about the camper in about an hour and a half now. That's how long we've been live on stream here. The camper was part of a Fox News interview last night, and again, the Guthries, a family that lives on the same block, really right there with the Laundrie family, said that Brian had returned home. That Brian had returned home in the van. They just didn't think all that much of it. And it was about a week to a week and a half later, so somewhere in we've been looking at a calendar somewhere in that perhaps that September 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th range there that the Guthries were, again, this is according to the neighbors who spoke to Fox News, saying that they saw the family, that being the Laundrie parents and Brian Laundrie, leave with this camper, the pickup truck towing this camper, and leaving for a period of 3 days. Now, do they know, to Felicia's comment here, do they know if he returned from the camping trip with his parents? And that wasn't articulated in the interview as I watched it. I've watched it multiple times now. It wasn't articulated in the interview, Josh, so we don't know. But they could have gone and Brian came back. But I think that a lot of people feel, and again, this is people just reading between the lines here, there are a lot of people that feel that they went on this trip with this camper, that 3 left, and 2 came back.
You know what's interesting, too, about that I've learned is that we have a reporter out there who actually went, Brian from Next Star Nation, News Nation, went there and talked to those neighbors prior to the interview they gave to Fox, and they made no mention of the fact that they went on a camping trip. So I find that very interesting in the days before Fox's interview came out, that they would have interviewed, we would have interviewed the neighbors, and they didn't bring that up whatsoever. I mean, it's a pretty important detail to bring out to the public. And now, in trying to interview the neighbors again, they won't talk to anybody. So I find that a bit strange in that they have this explosive new development that they talked to Fox about, and now they won't talk to anyone else unless maybe Fox has a deal with them. I'm not sure. I don't have any idea. But to talk to them earlier and not mention anything like that, and now this is coming out. I mean, that could be a very big development in the fact that now the parents could be involved in what happened just days before, he disappeared.
These neighbors, they just want this all to be over.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why they didn't say this sooner.
Right.
If that was true, why'd you wait?
I talked to the neighbor directly across the street when I was there Monday, a woman who lived there who was nice enough to let me shoot from her front yard because the rain was ridiculous, and we had a big tent, and she let us set up just outside of her front porch. And I asked her, do you know much about these parents or much about this family? She's like, no, we don't know them at all. I mean, they live right across the street. So I find it interesting that, some neighbors are pretty close, seem to know what they're about, who they are. Other neighbors, not so much. So yeah, it's just a stranger dynamic out there, and now inundated with media and onlookers as they watch every move that these parents now make.
Nicole Allen, #HeyJB, #HeyJosh, have any of Brian's friends spoken on his behalf, and who wrote the note on the car? And of course, the note that of course Nicole was referring to, the family of Brian Laundrie finding a note that was left on his car in Florida, that according to the attorney, and we don't know who wrote the note. But that's another curious piece here, folks, that we don't know too much about that note and what it led investigators to believe. But that's another piece. And this is, again, why there are true crime aficionados that are out there that are following this. We're talking about pieces like clues, like the note, like the Mustang, like the camper, like the van that came back here, like the backpack that he is said to have had. All of these things now, people are trying to piece this together. You, Josh, we're talking about online sleuthing here, so this is what we're talking about. People trying to piece this together, and we are doing the same here, but we are staying rooted in fact and telling you what is and isn't true, and we don't know the contents of the note, we don't know the author of that note, and we don't know what it led investigators to believe once it was discovered.
I have Dave on my Twitter feed asking if the search being classified as TBD for tomorrow, wondering if that could be weather related as to why it's being classified as TBD. We don't know. Dave, I think it's a good question because it's the first, we have heard that there may or may not be a search tomorrow. If there's no search tomorrow, that's going to be very interesting.
I have a hard time believing it's weather related, because weather really can move in and out very quickly in Tampa Bay.
And they're prepared for that. I mean, they're prepared to get totally drenched and have lightning in the area, so they probably have a plan in place for that.
Sure, and lightning is a threat when you're talking about an area like this. You don't want to be out in a a super fast area when a lightning storm arrives or when the severe thunderstorms arrive. Josh brings up a great point there. But weather comes and goes pretty quickly here in the Tampa Bay area, and unless it's a deluge out there, it's very hard for us to believe that a day in advance they would say that the search on Friday is TBD because of maybe some weather rolling through the area. But we'll ask the Max Defender 8 weather team here as well. Folks, we are going to, of course, hop off stream. We've been live here now almost 2.5 hours. I'd really like to thank Allison Henning, Walt Pizzo, our senior investigator, and Josh Benson. Before we wrap up here, Josh, we'll continue to monitor some of the social media activity coming our way, and I'll talk about my accounts here in just a second. Where can folks that want to get a hold of you, where can they follow you? And of course, tell us what you're going to be monitoring here in the hours ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just got an email about a statement from the Moab Police Department I want to read.
Okay.
Yeah, did you see that?
We can stay with you live here for another moment.
No,
let's look at it.
Yeah, it's not an email directly to me. I just want to make sure it's talking about unaware of any breach of the police department policy during an incident. However, the city will conduct a formal investigation, and based on the results, will take any next steps that may be appropriate. Looks like it's a dispute. Moab City Police Department has clear standards for officer conduct during a possible domestic dispute, and our officers are trained to follow these standards and protocols. Okay, this could be in reaction to pulling over the two and the events that happened during the body cam video. So we'll look at that more, and I will post an update on Twitter if it deems necessary. And sorry about that interruption there.
And where can they follow you, Josh? Here,
Twitter is where I'm posting everything right now. Twitter.com/WFLA Josh. Everything that's coming in, I'm trying to get turned around there as quickly as possible, including video and images and any new developments that we get from our side.
Josh Benson, you'll see him on the anchor desk tonight on WFLA News Channel 8. Of course, here, your NBC station 8 on your side here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Josh, thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to join you.
All right, everybody, we're bringing a temporary end to our coverage here for you on WFLA Now. You can, of course, I don't ever step away from your comments and what you have to say here on this story. When I tell you that I am monitoring this as far as 11 at night, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., yes, I'm cycling through all of my various social media accounts to read what you have to say. There's been some very touching words. I'd like to thank you. Some people who have had some very, very kind words to say about the way that we've been handling the story and how much we value what you have to say. We really do. All of our commenters, we really value what you have to say. It's an extremely important, fundamental, core principle here to WFLA Now as far as bringing in your comments to make sure that you are part of the conversation here. So we're going to be stepping away here. We've been live for almost 2.5 hours now. We want to let you know that the very latest is on WFLA.com and the WFLA app, and the latest on the search for the latest on the search for Brian Laundrie, and the latest on what we know right now with the Gabby Petito story. Now, if there's any new breaking developments, we're here live at the drop of a hat. I mean, really quickly, we can be live here with you. So if you sign up for push alerts on the WFLA app, if you sign up for live notifications on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, if you sign up for live alerts, you'll be alerted to the moment that we go live, because there could be a breaking development here. And of course, if you're really invested in the story, you want to know what is happening as it happens. So we're live here again on WFLA Now the moment that there is a new development in this story, whether it's the search for Brian Laundrie, the autopsy on Gabby Petito's remains, whatever we have that is new information, press conferences, press releases, statements from authorities, anything that we have, we can be live here on WFLA Now very, very quickly. But our entire WFLA News Channel 8 team here at WFLA in Tampa is working extremely hard around the clock as far as our article hub. We have a lot of articles on Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie on WFLA.com. If you don't want to listen to me, if you don't like listening to my voice, you can absolutely read the latest on the device in the palm of your hand by going to WFLA.com and the WFLA app. So we'll be back here live when new developments occur here in the Gabby Petito story and the search for Brian Laundrie here at the Carlton Reserve near Venice, Florida. We'll have live updates as they become available here on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, and our social media platforms, and read the latest on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. I'm JB Buno, stepping aside to read some more of your hashtag HeyJB comments that are coming in across our social media platforms here, picking up my phone right now to check out what's going on Instagram especially, and we'll, of course, keep you posted on the latest here and be live on WFLA Now with any updates that become available. More ahead in the hours ahead on WFLA.com and the WFLA app.